We've all heard some rather incredible stories about the carnivore diet. It's probably why we jumped onto this diet in the first place, this way of eating, if you prefer, this lifestyle. We all know about how if you have metabolic issues or eczema or mood or issues, all sorts of things really, the carnivore diet can help. But there is also a lot of stories out there that almost make this diet sound too good to be true. There's a lot of, I almost think, wishful thinking or magical thinking that goes on in carnivore communities. And so from time to time, whenever I encounter one of these in real life, I'm going to let you know. And if you think that maybe I look a little darker than usual, that's because the subject of today is the sunburn. There have been more than a few carnivore commentators, carnivore influencers out there, whether they're on Twitter or YouTube or wherever, making it sound like you either can't get sunburned on the carnivore diet, or if you get a sunburn, it won't be that bad. Well, I ran into this past weekend, and I didn't think it would be that big of a deal because, when I get a sunburn, historically, it's not usually that bad. And I didn't get a super bad one this time. Let's tell you a little story. So this past weekend, I had family in town. And if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen the brisket that I smoked for them. And I did it a classic Texas style with all the seasonings that I can't have. And I smoked alongside it a brisket flat. That's a lean part of a brisket. I bought a separate one from the rancher I buy my grass-fed beef from. And I smoked that separately in a strict carnivore way, which is with just salt, so that I could participate. This family was doing a road trip from the East Coast and stopped in Oklahoma City as their turnaround. And we happened to live about 40 minutes from Oklahoma City. And it was a family of my wife's. So we all went to visit them, saw them for the first time in a few years. And we had a good time. That was Saturday. The next day, we went back out to Oklahoma City and took them to the zoo. If you've ever been to the zoo, a zoo is not you walk around for half an hour and then you go home kind of event. Zoo trips often take hours. And so here we got there at around 11, and we're walking around the zoo until well into the afternoon. And I was wearing a tank top. And I didn't think it'd be that big a deal. It wasn't that hot. And it wasn't overcast or anything, but it wasn't that hot. And there's a lot of shade at this zoo because of the number of trees and things. If you're familiar with the Oklahoma City Zoo, you might know what I mean. And we and their kids all walked around for quite a long time in the sun. And I didn't even notice it until I was driving home, when it was all said and done, that I was starting to turn a little red. And so here's some pictures right there of what I had. Again, I was wearing one of my gym tank tops because I have that kind of corny farmer's tan, where you've got, really well-tanned forearms, but everything from the biceps on up is pasty. As you can see, the difference in tone there. And as you can tell, I did more than get tanned. I got burned. And while I'm getting burned, as I was dealing with this, I kept thinking back to all of these influencers I saw online saying, sunscreen bad, you can't get a sunburn. Now, sunscreen is not something I'm a fan of. I've never seen a sunscreen that wasn't just loaded with a Dow Chemical grab bag of mystery chemicals that will have who knows what kind of effect on you. Not a fan. I haven't gotten a sunburn, doing yard work dressed like this, and I've got my backyard's not small. It takes me a while to do it. I've never gotten anything like this doing yard work or being gone for half the day out and about doing errands or things. But I got a sunburn at the zoo, and it's kept me out of the gym. I mean, how do you do squats with a barbell on your back on top of, a sunburn? It's probably not safe. It's the last thing you want to be dealing with, a knurled barbell, digging into your burn. So I'm making this because I want to suggest that people stop, or at least take any kind of magical thinking claims with a grain of salt, unless you see a lot of, testimony out there from people. So if you have like Hashimoto's or something, well, there's a lot of people who have Hashimoto's who've gotten it completely addressed with the carnivore diet. You can name any other sort of issues that have a metabolic aspect to them for that. But a lot of the influencers promote this magical thinking that says you're not going to get a sunburn, or it's going to be very hard to get one. I got one less time than it has taken in the past to get one. So just want to let you know that's not necessarily true. And if you go digging around on social media, on Facebook and other places, you will see that people report that they get them and they get kind of ignored. It's sort of like when you see people who are desperate to lose the extra body fat they're carrying, and they've tried everything every influencer tells them to do, which is eat till you're comfortably stuffed, don't track anything, et cetera, et cetera. And these are people desperate to lose weight and the weight's not coming off. And all they're being told is stick to the plan in a one size fits all approach. Let's try to avoid a lot of that thinking, because there can be, one size fits all approaches don't work. A lot of this advice might work for a lot of people. A lot of people may never get a sunburn, or they may be able to eat as much as they want and lose weight on this diet. That's not true for everybody. Anyway, what's your experience with the sunburn? I'm curious. Have you gotten sunburns on this diet? Gotten them as bad or as easily as you did before you became a carnivore? Do you get them more easily now than you did before? Or can you now stay out in the sun all day under a blazing 100-degree sun in the Arizona desert and never get a sunburn? I'm curious what your experience with this is. So let me know in the comments, please. Like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. And share these messages on social media if you can. They do help these new channels grow as well. And go and optimize your day today.